Hey friends. Um, so normally I don't do extended videos like this. Normally you have to be either a paying client or be in business with me to get me on camera for more than a few seconds. But I wanted to celebrate a little career milestone and share a little dialogue with you just to recap kind of what it's been like to be a full-time business owner, full-time entrepreneur for the last 3 years, and on top of that, celebrating 300 clients in total over the course of those 3 years. And by clients, I mean students of mine. I work as a full-time tutor, self-employed that way. That's just I'll get into that in a second, but it's kind of just primarily it's the thing that I feel like I am most effective at doing and where I can make the most impact. But in terms of clients, I'm of course referring to not just students, but also the families that are attached to them, including the pets. Since before quarantine, part of what I would do for work is I would go straight to people's houses. I would just, walk in. We'd have correspondence and dialogue prior, of course, and I partner with some companies that take care of a filtering process, so I know everything's safe and on the up and up. And I would go to people's houses and hang out with them and their kids and their dogs and cats, and we would just do schoolwork. I would just help them out with their schoolwork, which is a lot of fun. Looking forward to doing that again after all of this has cleared up. But besides going to people's houses, I am really grateful that I've been able to work online for the last 2 years. I won't go into details here, but basically, I lost my car. I crashed my car, and back in 2018. And since then, I was just forced to work online. And it turned out that down the road, that would actually be a blessing in disguise because when everyone else in the school districts around the world were, scrambling to transition online, parents and students were trying to figure out all the new software they had to deal with. Everyone was flustered and confused, and it was pretty chaotic. So I'm really appreciative that I already had that experience. I didn't have, nothing in my work changed. As a matter of fact, this last year was my best year in business, in all my businesses, and it was better. It was better than 2019, which is better than the year prior, and that's pretty much just been the trend. I don't know. I feel like every year I'm a little older, wiser, more experienced, more knowledgeable. I have more people in my life that I've met, more experienced, just overall. So I think every year kind of gets better and better over time, but that's just my point of view. Anyway, it's been really nice to not have to be distracted by anything that's going on in the world and just focus on what I do for work, which is serving families and helping their students succeed in whatever academic interests that they have, whether it's a young elementary school student who just wants some help with reading and stuff like that, to a university physics student working on electromagnetism or quantum mechanics or anything like that. It's a lot of fun. I've had students where they're taking a class on a subject that I have basically no experience in. That happens once in a while. In particular, a good example I remember was a student who was doing atmospheric science, and it was at a university level, so it was pretty high up there. And the atmosphere is crazy. That's fluid dynamics. It's the messiest math. Maybe not the messiest, but it's pretty heavy math. And it's intense stuff, and probably the closest thing that I got to that was taking a class on solar physics, and so you study the fluid flow of plasma in the sun. You have to take electromagnetism into account because it's charged stuff. Plasma, it's charged particles. Where was I going with that? Anyway, this is pretty casual, by the way, as you can tell, off the cuff. Just a short appreciation post, I guess, for the journey that's led up to this point, and celebrating celebrating all of the people that I've met through this process. But it's been fun because I'm able to not only learn new things on occasion, but I can go back, and I'm really grateful that I decided not to do graduate school yet. That can be accomplished at any time. But over the last few years, I've gone back to fundamentals, like high school physics, basic university stuff, chemistry, math, even history, literature. Basically, I'll help anyone out who's high school or below. I feel confident in any of those subjects because they're all interwoven. If you've read my book, you know what I'm talking about. But they're all connected anyway, so I'm not an expert by any means in most things. I don't know everything. I don't know actually much at all. But I know a few things, so I focus mostly on physics, right? But I can branch out a little bit. And it's helped my understanding about the world. It's broadened my perspective. And just getting back to fundamentals has been really enlightening. I understand, things like things I didn't understand when I first learned them in high school or college. I understand them much, much better now. Basic things like from kinematics to more advanced things like the Schrodinger equation. Sorry if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Google it. You have internet access, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see this. Anyway, that's been fun. I really, one of the best things about working online has been being able to get connected with people all around the world. It's nice to be able to drive and go to people's homes. It's a very personal experience. You feel like you're part of the family, and sometimes they give you coffee, which is really nice, or pastries. Sorry. But the cool thing about working online is that, I've had students, like 3 or 4 in Europe, 1 in Paris, and then, I don't want to get the countries wrong, but I think like Romania or somewhere, Eastern Europe, 2 of them. They were international baccalaureate students like I was. Same thing with the student that I had in Australia. I think I've had one, so their family's in China. They go back and forth between the US and China. And I don't remember his exact story, but I know we met in China a few times. So that's really cool. And I'm able to do that partly by virtue of, the nature of my job is I can work whenever I want, however much I want, and I have full control of my schedule, which is the primary thing that I wanted. That's the reason, one of the main reasons that I do this. The other one being that, not in a public school system in particular, you have a wide variety of students and you pack them all into one big classroom, and it's easy for some things to pass through the cracks. Even like I've taught class before, and I know that I've missed some folks before. That's just how things go. And so I kind of see what I do as a supplement to what students are given by their professional teachers, their full-time salary instructors, those type of folks, and it's nice because it gives me the freedom to work with students one-on-one, which is more, I guess, my style of teaching. I've taught large classes, like I just said, throughout college, high school. I've taught martial arts classes for people from 3 years old to 65 plus. And so I have pretty good experience, knowing who my audience is. If you're working with young kids or people who are older than you and wiser than you, but you happen to know a specific thing that you're going to teach them. So there's different dynamics there with person-to-person interaction. So I have that experience, and then all through college, working at the planetarium up in Boulder. I ran birthday parties, taught classes there all the time, gave lectures to anywhere from a few dozen to a few hundred folks at a time. And so I don't have a problem getting up in front of groups of people, but I really like the one-on-one aspect to it. It's just, I feel like it's more effective, more personal, and then, I could just cater my lesson to whatever the individual needs, which is kind of nice. And part of the benefit of that is, again, that I get to control my time, which, I don't know. I've had quite a few jobs. I mentioned I've been fully self-employed, so no W-2 at all for the last 2.5, 3 years. But I've had jobs that I'm really grateful for. My first job was a nice, cozy office job, working for security, and then they transferred me to HR, government building, basically. So it's pretty official. I got paid probably higher on average than a lot of my peers did in high school, and they wanted to keep me around. I just felt like I would get stuck there, and I had other ambitions to go elsewhere and do other things. And then working up at the planetarium in college was a phenomenal experience. I loved that job, but couldn't work there after not being a student anymore. So, which I think is a good thing, by the way, because it gives younger folks, the next generation, opportunities to branch out and learn, different things, get paid while they get to study the universe, which is pretty awesome. And then working at the planetarium in Boston was a lot of fun also. I even worked fast food after I graduated college. I got my astrophysics degree, and then I decided to work fast food because I had bills to pay. I had to pay rent, and I'd never done it before. I thought it would be a humbling experience, and it was. But it was still fun. The only problem with that was I couldn't work enough. Like, they literally had to send me home because they couldn't afford to pay me. They didn't have enough funds, or I don't know if, that's what they told me. I don't know if there's something else that I was not told about that, but I don't know. They called me in on other days to work, so I think they enjoyed having me around, and I did my job as best as I could. But it was just limiting. It was limiting, and I felt that with every single place that I worked. My last job, the last thing that I did was I had 2 jobs. I was stocking shelves for both of them. One at a local liquor store, just because they hired me. I went to every store in a shopping complex. I walked to everyone and asked if they were hiring, and they were. And then the other one was the grocery store right next to that liquor store. And I worked the night shift, stocking shelves, and that was fine. I don't know. I prefer to do manual labor when I volunteer. I don't like to get paid for it. Because when they pay you, you're kind of obligated to be there. It's like school, right? Like, you have to be there or you get in trouble. And that's just, I don't know, that never jived with my personality, I guess. And I just don't like being told what to do. I feel like I'm not perfect at time management by any means, but I try to be pretty responsible with how I utilize my time. I've done a lot of projects of pretty high significance in a short period of time. So I don't know. I think the best part about all of my jobs was definitely the people. Every time, each and every time, it was the people. And I never felt that I was useless or not, contributing, if that makes sense. I was always grateful for the opportunity to work. Always. I remember my first interview with that government job, and I said, something that I think they appreciate, which is that every part, it's like an analogy with an office, right? Every part of your body serves a function. And your hand isn't less significant than your kidney necessarily, just because they're serving different functions, because they all go together to make a cohesive whole. So whether I was just, a clerk, organizing supplies and filing papers, I knew that I was still contributing and still valuable. So I'm not looking down on anyone who has a job. I just wanted more than what a job could provide. I didn't want restrictions or limitations. I didn't want a boss telling me what to do. And I have no boss now, which I'm really appreciative for. So, but it's tough. I mean, it hasn't been without challenges, of course. When I first started out, I did have way less income than when I had my very first job in high school as a 16-year-old. I took a cut in pay, and I had to, lower my expenses, which is something that I learned from, mentors and coaches of mine, is that wealthy people, if you want to be wealthy, you have to live below your means. So I did, and it allowed me to take a cut in pay, which allowed me to transition into being a business owner, a full-time entrepreneur who, just full-time 1099 income. I don't get tax refunds anymore. I pay my taxes, right? Like, everyone pays taxes if you have a job. But if you're an employee, they take your taxes out before they give you your money, and then maybe you get a refund if the government lets you. I keep all of my money throughout the year, and I have to save some and allocate some and set it aside. That way I can pay my taxes at the end of the year. And that's just, it's an extra layer of responsibility. I have to keep track of receipts and transactions that I make now. But that's just part of the deal, right? And it's nice because, travel expenses, there are deductions, which are cool to learn about. I'm still figuring that out. Oh no, it's nice. I mean, I've made mistakes with clients, obviously. Like, when I say 300 plus, some of them were long term, right? And some of them, I just met with them once. And then that was that. And we went our own ways. Just wasn't a good fit. It's part of the deal, right? It's just the law of averages. And that's fine, because the ones who did stick around long term, I have great relationships with now, with them, their parents, and it's just been a really great experience to, build those relationships with people and learn physics at the same time, get better at physics, because you learn by teaching, right? So I've screwed up. As a matter of fact, if I had made more mistakes and failed more, I probably would be farther ahead in life. But you can't change the past. So what can you do? Just move forward and do your best the next day, right? So I don't know. I'm grateful for last year. I was still able to travel, go to all my business conferences that I normally go to, like 6 last year. I went to 10 plus different states to network and build my knowledge and experience and enterprise. That way I can go and be more effective at serving other people, my students and my clients and people who I'm in business with. So it's been great. And I feel great. I feel super healthy. I haven't had any major issues. Thank God for anyone in my family. So I don't know. It's really has nothing to do with me. I'm just I'm not a big deal by any means. I just I just focus on what I can control. I focus on having a positive attitude, and then doing productive actions with my time, and I just let the rest go. I don't dwell on anything else, and it's worked out pretty well. Last year, I probably donated more to various charities and stuff like that than I ever have before, which is really nice. it just feels good, and it's one of the other things that I've learned over the last few years is kind of there's a law of reciprocity with money. You have to give more if you want to receive more, and if you use it productively, use your finances properly, then you tend to accumulate more because you can be trusted with more. Debts have been paid off, not completely yet, but probably within the next year, all the debts will be gone. So I'm excited. This next year is going to be phenomenal, I think, and that's just a choice that I made. I've decided that this is going to be a good year, and that's that. So I'm not concerned with what is going on in the rest of the world that I can't control. I'm still grateful to live here in this great American melting pot where people come from all around the world. We have every background, every ethnicity, every religion, every type of history, every language that's spoken. Someone speaks it here. This is a great country. So I don't, people who say that everything's falling apart and the country's on fire, in my opinion, you're full of crap. That's just a blatant lie. It's not even close to true. You're missing a basic understanding of long-term history, right? Like, we have electricity, we have indoor plumbing, we have refrigeration, we have all of these phenomenal innovations and revolutions in technology and knowledge and experience. This is the best time in human history to be alive. We have coffee. I don't know where this is. I don't know where people grew this. Wasn't Colorado, that's for sure. Still tastes great, though. This is the best time in human history to be alive. I don't care what you say. It's empirically true. Are there problems? Yeah, there have always been problems. That's kind of part of life. I remember a funny, I was watching a Brian Tracy lecture, and he had a funny little bit about how life consists of a lot of problems with the occasional crisis. Problem, 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 crisis. Problem, 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 crisis. And that's kind of how life is. But if you, maintain a positive attitude, you focus on your goals and ambitions and your dreams and what you want out of life, the problems tend to take care of themselves. Will there be challenges? Yeah. Will there be obstacles and tragedies? Unfortunately, it's kind of part of the deal. You get a tragedy, but you also get victory that goes along with that. They're interwoven. You can't have a failure without planting a seed of equal or greater benefit that goes along with it. And a lot of the people who are going to see this, you've heard that expression dozens of times, I know. I am really grateful for all the friends that I have who I got to spend all of last year with on a regular basis, who challenged me and stretched me and challenged me to do more and achieve more and to improve myself on a daily basis. So, if you're having trouble and struggles right now, what I do for work, this is an appreciation post for work. What's the word? For, an accomplishment, a milestone. That's it, milestone for work. But none of this would be possible, for me at least, without, great friends, mentorship, supportive family. But even without all of that, I have dreams and ambitions and goals, and regardless of the situation, I focus on that, and I focus on the positive. I focus on what goes right. I don't focus on the problems or what goes wrong. I use them as stepping stones to learn and improve in the future. But I don't dwell on them. I make mistakes all the time, but everyone does. That's how you learn, right? It's good. So what I do for work is I'm a cheerleader for part of it. Your teachers are giving you the material, right? You're going to class, hopefully. So you should figure out this. You should be able to figure out most of the material, right? I understand that everyone's situation's different, right? But I got through school. I didn't have a tutor, and I'm not smarter than anyone. I just paid attention, and there were times when I didn't, and my grades were worse, and then I did pay attention and my grades were fine. So I think what most people need, especially recently, is a lot of times people just need to hear someone say, you're good enough, I'm proud of you, good work, and just get some encouragement, right? So I kind of just do a lot of cheerleading, and I learned that principle of leadership from mentors of mine, people who coach me in life, and that's it's just something I took away from them, is that probably some of the best and most effective things that you can do to help someone is to just lift them up, to give them words of encouragement, to just say, hey, I believe in you, and this too shall pass, you'll get through this. So that's my ending message for all of you. To all my students over the last few years, I'm proud of you. Thanks for all your hard work. You guys are in a way better position than I was in. A lot of you are way smarter than I was at your age. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you all accomplish with your future. And thanks for taking the time to listen in. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all later. Take care.